This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
All right, guys. Hello. It's Good Friday, so that means I'm in a very, very good mood. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today. I really, really appreciate you and everything that you do for me and Judge Joe Brown and this network. We definitely love you to life. Again, you're listening to the Judge Joe Brown Show. I am Valerie Denise Jones. In a very, very mellow mood. Oh, my gosh. It's been a really, really good day. The number that should already be locked in your phone, should be locked in your phone, is 9294-771167. Again, 929-477-1167. I want to thank everybody who's already in the chat room and for those people who are hanging out with me via social media. I appreciate you so much. Please make sure that you continue to tweet and post on social media while we are live, because we've got a great show for you today. I've always wanted to meet this person because we have a common denominator, and his name is Judge Joe Brown. So I feel like he's like a surrogate brother of sorts. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very good time. I definitely have some questions for him regarding media and being an investigative journalist. So I want to have that conversation with him. And, again, thank you so much to our international listeners and callers. I see you guys out there. I appreciate you guys so much for what you do for this network. And also for those people who are already on the board. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We're, again, going to have fun. Please don't forget to press the number 1 if you'd like to join the conversation. And, we're going to have about a 30-minute conversation. We're going to give Ron a chance to talk to us and share with us about who he is and what he does and what he represents. And then, we're going to cut the commercial break and then bring you back in so you can love on him as well. But don't forget that you have to be in a quiet area, right? We try to minimize our background noise as much as possible because you guys know this audio, and I share it on other platforms. And if the audio is poor, then they won't play it. And I don't blame them either because he wants, ghetto, raggedy, audio to mess up their perfection. So we definitely want to make sure that we give them our best. All right, guys, so I think that's enough of me. I'm going to actually play this clip, and it is for Ron. I want him to listen to it, and when we come back, I'll talk. So, Ron, please make sure that you press the number 1. I don't know your number, but I will go in the back office and find you because the board's already lit. So, it's probably going to take a minute. I see Judge Brown in the building. Whoop, whoop. Hey, Judge Brown. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, we're back. You're listening to the Judge Joe Brown Show. I'm Valerie Denise Jones. I hope you enjoyed that audio. I really, truly, truly do. 929-477-1167. 929-477-1167. Please lock that number in your phone. So we want you to join us every Friday starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on over here, hang out, get your weekend started, or at least end your work week off with a bang. However you want to put it, whether you're optimist or pessimist, it all works in our favor. We love you to life. All right, so right now at this time what I want to do is I want to open up the mic and bring in the one and only Mr. Ron. How are you?
It's an honor to be on here, Sister Valerie. I'm great.
Hey. Yes, I feel like I'm meeting one of my favorite celebrities, and I'm fanning out just a little bit because I remember watching you when I fell in love with Dick Gregory, and that's when I got to know you. And I remember watching, and he would be so brash. And I was like, that's a strong man. Because Dick would just go so hard sometimes to the point it was funny. But, you know, you were writing and taking notes all the time, you know, so you really didn't have time. But God bless his soul. Yeah. So, yeah, gosh, Ron, you're here. I'm excited. Tell us a little bit about you so people know why I am excited.
Well, thank you, Sister Valerie. It's an honor to be on here to start the new year, or the now year off right in 2019. My name is Brother Ron Hurd II. People know me sometimes as Brother Ron, or also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. No, being Ronald Cortez Hurd II. I sometimes call myself the artivist. I look at myself as being an activist as well as an artist. And like Paul Robeson used to say, that artists are the gatekeepers of truth. I believe it's my duty to get the truth out there by any means necessary in terms of how I express myself. I have a platform, as you know, called We All Be TV. It's on YouTube. Just look for the name We All Be TV, one word. Also, I am the founder and director of the We All Be Group Incorporated, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And we're all about encouraging the masses via social entrepreneurship, educational empowerment, and cultural preservation and awareness from the Black American point of view. So I've been involved in a couple of projects on the ground, out in the streets as well. Things like the Fort Pillow Massacre Project, where we actually created a counter-narrative to remember the victims of General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was a Confederate general and also a notorious slave trader and the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So we actually was key in raising $3,000 to create a historic marker in honor of his victims of the Fort Pillow Massacre, who are buried at the Memphis National Cemetery. So when you go to the Memphis National Cemetery off of Jackson Avenue in Memphis, the first thing you see when you come upon the gates is this big historic marker that we dedicated last year on Juneteenth in honor of the 300 black male soldiers, women, and children that were slaughtered by Nathan Bedford Forrest and his men during the Civil War. So also we do the Jimmy Lonsford Jamboree Festival every year. We honor in 1 week Jimmy Lonsford, a music education pioneer in Memphis, and also a phenomenal jazz musician who was the #1 attraction for black dancers of the 30s and 40s throughout the country. So we honor him, who got his start in Memphis. And last year we was pivotal in bringing in the Sun Ra Orchestra, who was, Sun Ra was a great admirer of Jimmy Lonsford, and also he's the godfather of funk music as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people like Earth, Wind, and Fire them got their inspiration from Sun Ra. So wrap it all up, I'm an artist as well, visual artist and stuff like that. But as you know, I do the broadcasting on YouTube, on We All Be TV. I help, reintroduce Dick Gregory to a new generation of folks. And, it's been going on 5 years strong. We've been having Judge Joe Brown on. And he's also, gaining traction with some of the young folks. They looking for different things out there. So I'm sorry for the long, drawn-out thing, but that's it.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I can tell. You've been doing this a while because you articulate well. Definitely. You broke everything down. Now you're making my job difficult because now I don't have to unpack you. Yeah. But I was intrigued by the name. We All Be TV, one big old word. Why did you do it that way?
Well, I had came up with the idea for We All. We All Be is basically, I guess, an acronym for World Enriching, Activating, Liberating Love, Beautification Experience. So I actually came up with that back in April of 2006. Actually, April Fool's Day 2006. I took a bus from Memphis to New Orleans to protest the early voting. The people don't, because this Hurricane Katrina happened in August 2005, and a lot of black folks were displaced from New Orleans and around surrounding areas. So we were protesting them. How can you hold a local election when most of the locals are not in town because of Hurricane FEMA or Katrina, whatever you want to call it? So I was crossing the bridge that they actually denied. That bridge where black folks were trying to walk towards that parish. They would not allow the black folks leaving New Orleans to go into the parish. We was actually crossing that bridge, and I was thinking about, black folks need we need a wake-up call. We need something to rally around. We need to start telling our story from our own perspective, because this is before the Facebook and the YouTube and all the social media entertainment infrastructure took place. You had rumors coming out of Louisiana of cannibalism on the first day of Katrina. They were saying black folks were cannibalizing people. Then you also heard reports of white folks forming hunting groups and basically hunting down and shooting black folks, and people thought that was like not real, but we actually proved it happened, right? With the Danziger thing, the bridge, where they actually were killing black men. So you had these stories and stuff. I say, well, we need to have a way to tell our own story. And also, I want to teach the world how to really embrace black people. We are a beautiful people. We are a universal people, as I say. But a lot of times we don't really see ourselves as such. So, like, Sun Ra said he was sent to Earth. Sun Ra is a black man. He said he's from Saturn. You got to check out Sun Ra. He got some interesting music. But he said he was kidnapped by some aliens. I think it was the Klan because he's from Alabama. And they let him go if he teach the world how to love beautiful beings and things. And I'm here to teach the world how to love black people, how to inspire black people to love themselves by knowing who you are from knowledge yourself. So that's where the We All Be thing come from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was always fascinated by that. And then the artwork, is that something that, because I noticed that you start doing like merch with it, but you say you paint, draw, what is it? Because I draw, but I use pencil.
Oh, that's cool.
Not ink or color.
There's nothing wrong with that. You got to express yourself. Cause, I always tell people that because I'm a very expressive person, it keeps me out of prison. I mean, a lot of people in jail because they don't know how to express themselves right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You had people that killed people that got out of jail because they knew how to sing or write a song. Think about this is folk song artist or folk musician named Lead Belly from Louisiana. He killed a person and he was able to get out of jail because he wrote a song for the governor of Louisiana and sung it for him. So he was able to get a pardon because he had the gift of music. But what I'm saying is, like, for me, I've been doing drawing, art, visual art since I was 2 years old. I'm 38 now. Since I was 2, I've been doing drawing and whatnot. And I was just lucky to have a mom who really paid attention to what my passions were. So she always encouraged me to continue my drawing, had me enlisted in the creative and performing art programs in junior high and high school. And also I got a full scholarship to go to Washington University in St. Louis based on my art abilities. So, I mean, it's been paying off. Your passions pay off for you to, recognize the opportunity to create an opportunity and to believe in yourself.
Right. I just want to ask you a few more questions. I know that I opened up the judge's mic, so he's live if ever he decides to come in. But I do want to ask you a couple questions because, like I said, I feel like I almost, in a sense, we have a lot of common denominators. But I feel as it relates to media, quite often I shadowed you because, I never met, the Honorable Dick Gregory before he passed away. And I'm kind of upset about that because I remember I was supposed to go to an event that he attended in, I think it was upstate New York or something. And I didn't go that particular weekend because I elected to do something else. But I remember that one interview that you did with Dr. Umar Johnson, and he was sitting, it looked like a hotel, and his chair looked like it was in front of a banister. And I think you were there with your mom. And that was just one of the most powerful interviews. Because I was working with him at the time, booking him for different events and stuff like that. But that was a very, very powerful interview. And I remember feeling a connection with you because you are so close to each other. And I definitely wanted to say out loud, I applaud you for that relationship. Hopefully she's still with us. And I'm not stepping over. Okay. All right, good.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, that was really good, a really good interview. And I really, really enjoyed that. So how did you meet Judge Brown?
I'm glad you asked me that question because I guess June will mark like our 5-year anniversary of knowing each other. Him being aware of me. I've been knowing about Judge Joe Brown for a while because he's a celebrity. He's one of those history makers in the city of Memphis, the city of good abode, but also because of his TV show. But I first met Judge when he was campaigning for DA back in, I would say, the spring of 2014. Maybe it was May, late May or June. I met him downtown Memphis, outside of Ernestine and Hazel's, and I just asked him. I said, "Look, I'm into media. I would love to get in touch with you to do an interview." And he gave me his point person, his PR person, to get in touch with him. So back in June of 2014, the first time I ever interviewed Judge Joe Brown, and the rest is history.
Mhm. Yeah, you guys make a good team. You definitely do. Yes. So I don't want to hold the judge too long, but I do want to ask you some question about investigative journalism and also this fake news thing that's out. But Judge, are you there? I know he hates my
Yeah, I'm here. The judge is
so I'll just do an applause right now.
Beginning. All right.
Excellent. I was good to hear the judge voice.
You two up for a while. I thought you two would have a synergy with each other when it came down to doing what you do. You both seem to be about the same kind of positive thing, which is a good thing. A question. Since you've been interviewing all these people, you interview them and get their perspectives. I want yours. What do you think about all of this that they're making about R. Kelly these days?
I'm glad you asked me that, Judge. I would ask you the same thing. I would say this. I'm going to get out. Okay. Well, I'm a fan of R. Kelly's music, right? I'm a fan of R. Kelly. I don't care what nobody got to say about that. He's a music genius. You know, a lot of us can agree upon the fact that he's very gifted as a musician. Now, my problem is this. He has had his day in court. You know, this stuff been almost 20 years old. This stuff been going on for 20-plus years. If you go back to Aaliyah's wedding or marriage to R. Kelly. If they really had anything on R. Kelly, how come he's not in a jail cell or in a penitentiary right now? You know, what is the timing of all this right now?
Well, it's this thing that they are doing right now. There is a push by this bunch to get around the law. And they have this, it seems like they have this perspective of, if we can't get them in courts, let's destroy them in the media. Mm-hmm. So the clip we listened to a little while ago, what she was talking about is this filthy thing called tabloid journalism, where you don't report the news, you use newsworthy events or non-newsworthy events, and you create historical fiction. You make it into a soap opera. Mm-hmm. And that comes from the National Enquirer, the Globe, the Star, and I remember years ago when I would be in front of a jury, I'd pull out this old front page, 2 articles from the National Enquirer. It said, child born half pig, half human to loving couple in barnyard. And they had this baby with a pig's snout airbrushed on. And then they had one a couple of years later, a child, half pig, half human, thriving, loving couple, responsible, and they had an older edition of the child with a pig snout airbrushed on its face, and that was on the front page of a newspaper. And I pointed it out that this is where it's coming from, and just because it's in a newspaper, you can't believe it because it's in print. You know, we have this weakness as humans for it is written, therefore. And, you know, these days what's written can usually be termed garbage. Take a look at Twitter, for an example. We use Twitter, and it's a means of communication from everything from hard science down to blue-check little airbrushed Photoshop China doll, and she's saying, I had purple jello and it quivered, and then get 86.4K likes. You know, like, what kind of stupid folk are interested in this nonsense? But, you know, you think back to circuses and P.T. Barnum, somebody's supposed to have asked him, Mr. Barnum, how do you think you can make money off of this? It would take a fool to come in here and pay money for this kind of thing. He said, well, I'm going to make a lot of money because there's a fool born every minute. You know, so it is what it is. And you pointed out, like, they couldn't get him in court, so let's destroy him otherwise. It's this hashtag Me Too nonsense, I think, is behind it, from looking at the people.
I want to ask both of you something then on that subject. Black Dot said something today, and he was just like, he felt like people are literally trying to control black folks' energy. Like, whenever it seems like we're good, and you could tell that we're about to take it at next level thinking, we're coming together, we're working together, we're bonding. You know, there's no, the black men and women are getting along, and boom, there's always something, to divide us. Just mess up the whole Wakanda energy, so to speak. Do you guys feel that he's being used? Because like you said, this story's like 20 years old, and you could tell that they're just fascinated with this one person, but then none of the story makes sense. Like, the people who are involved, Charlemagne the God shouldn't even be in the storyline. Rhea's, 1 minute she's saying one thing, another minute she isn't. It's already been brought to the attention that another person that was in the film, that, this whole thing was staged. Her daughter and son are speaking out against her. And then it came out that R. Kelly's, Aaliyah's mom, R. Kelly's former manager, who is also Aaliyah's uncle, he owns all of R. Kelly's, all of his publishings, and it's just a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what was this whole thing about?
It was destroy a black man. That's from my perspective. R. Kelly is foolish. Hell, I could call him a fool because he acts like it. He should have managed his own emotive desires better. But be that as it may, it's dead, and it's just something to tear things down and stir up the pot. And you've got a group of people that are once again using us to be in the forefront of some struggle that doesn't really concern us, that they can use us as sort of poster children for. And like, this R. Kelly, women have been done wrong. Men need to be suppressed. Manhood is bad. Men can't control themselves. Men are dogs. This kind of thing that you got out there. And they do a special on R. Kelly. They sensationalize it. It obviously looks like it's staged and scripted. So what's the point? Except you got an agenda you're trying to push.
And I also like to add, Judge make great points, and I also like to add, this is what Brother Malcolm makes. Some of the most important things he ever told us that people don't really understand is that, like, one, he said, only a fool will let their enemies be the primary educators of their children. Only a fool will let their enemies be the primary educators of their children. And also, number two, he said that the media is the most powerful entity on the planet. It influences and controls the minds of the masses. When you don't control your media, you don't control your narrative. So you don't even control your image. So right now, the mass media is treating black folks like we're living in Jonestown under Jim Jones down in Guyana. People need to look at, what is Jonestown? Who is Jim Jones? A lot of black folks that, he was over a lot of black people in his cult. And a lot of black folks were killed under him. But Jim Jones was this charismatic figure. He spoke well, had magnetism. A lot of times what they're doing with black folks, we're very emotional people. We like to follow people. It's a human thing, but a cult of personality. It's not much about the message. It is about the messenger. And with R. Kelly, what is interesting, too, like what you said about Aaliyah's uncle controlling his publishing, in that song he did last summer, I Admit, the 20-minute song, he talks about the reason why he still tours because he's broke. He has no money. See, all this stuff is coming out now because he can't pay these people off. There was extorting and blackmailing R. Kelly for years. So now you can't pay the parents and the so-called victims out. Now they're coming out with these interesting stories. But what I'm looking at is that they are running a psyops on black people using social media. Like we look at the CIA with the Operation Mockingbird. A lot of these so-called legitimate news sources are fronts for U.S. intelligence. You understand, like the Washington Post, New York Times, TV shows. Look at 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes, they got CIA consultants. The Central Intelligence Agency controls the narrative. They front these different things, but it is a war on the black hetero image. It is a war on the black man as far as the image. They're trying to make the black man the boogeyman of all American ills. Like Willie Horton, back in the day when they had the Willie Horton commercials from 1988 for George H.W. Bush. when he was running against Mike Dukakis for president. They put out that Willie Horton commercial, and it scared the hell out of white America. And so they, a lot of them voted for Bush. Think about Richard Nixon with Law and Order. All these things, or the Southern Strategy, all these things are code words for trying to put black folks in our proper places. If you look at the history of America, most of the people, black folks who were lynched because they were business people. Like even in Memphis, Tennessee, where they had the People's Grocery lynching. Ivy Wells' good friends, the reason why they were lynched because they were successful grocery men. They had successful People's Grocery. They were doing better business than the white grocery business across the street. So a lot of black folks, a lot of people were terrorized because we were successful business people, and we're trying to organize among ourselves. Think about Black Wall Street. Think about the 100th anniversary of the Lane, Arkansas massacre. We had probably 1,000 black folks massacred across the river from Memphis because they wanted to organize their own sharecroppers union. You had the white folks come to a church meeting down in Elaine, Arkansas, shoot up a church because black people want to organize among themselves their economic rights. So,
and I want to bring in some more people, of course, but I want you guys, Judge, if you don't have anything else to say on this, and I don't want to move forward, but I want to know if you guys think that this ties into the government shutdown. So, Judge, do you have anything else before I start opening up a few lines and let other people participate in the conversation?
I can't say anything other than rank speculation, which I think is a wrong thing to do about whether it's tied into the government shutdown. But what they might be doing is attempting to generate ratings because people are not responding to constant bombardment about the government shutdown. Well, maybe it does, but not indirectly. It's people aren't responding the way the media wants them to and getting all wild up where they stay tuned for the next little shred of information on the government shutdown. So the R. Kelly story becomes something that you can continually go back to and create and generate story after story that's a spinoff of the thing. So that's good for ratings, and that's another problem with media. They get driven by ratings. And a lot of what we hear is nonsense to boost the ratings and get the viewer to stay tuned for the next little tidbit. But anyway, I'll rest on that one.
I also like to add to that, the most important news day of the week is Friday. When the news infrastructure, when they give out the most important news, it comes on Friday. You want to know why? Because by the time the weekend hits, you forget about the story on Monday. So some of the most important information for the whole week comes out on Fridays. But by the time the weekend hits, about Monday rolls around, you forget about it. So, but also look at this, too. You look at R. Kelly, you look at Prince, you look at Michael Jackson. All these guys, Michael and Prince especially, they fought for control of their music. They fought for Michael Jackson had the Sonny catalog. Prince allegedly had his own masters. Then once these guys die, their wills are incontested. People don't know if these wills are legitimate, supposedly. Like, think about it. Why would you spend a lot of your life and resources trying to get your music or intellectual property in your hand only to lose it after death? R. Kelly only got control of his publishing. So people, you got to follow the money sometimes when it comes to this stuff. And I believe it is a distraction because you look at the movie Wag the Dog that came out over 20 years ago. People need to look at that movie, Wag the Dog. And they explain to you in layman terms what they're really about. And so as far as distractions, because Judge talk about all the time, these like the Roman Empire days of breads and circuses, a lot of distractions. So I'll rest on that.
And one more thing, that movie, they said that it was like a social media. There was a lot of fake accounts that were set up. That Netflix movie, Bird Box. It's like all this stuff coming in at the same time. All of it just seemed a little bit suspect. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems to all tie in together, but what do we pay attention to, at any given time? Like, where should our focus be? I think that they knew how to distract, quote-unquote, colored folks, by putting R. Kelly in the news. That was an easy distraction. And this Bird Box thing, it's a lot. It's really, really a lot. All right, so let me open up maybe one or two mics, and let's just keep the conversation going. 229-733, 229-733. Welcome to the show. Give us your name, and do you have a question or comment?
Thank you so much. I have a comment, and I'd like to say hello to Judge Joe. I'm a big fan of yours. Look,
Thank you.
Hey, you changed the conversation to something that's very interesting, and that is the fact how information and misinformation generates ratings. And in modern time, the times that we're living in, we have to understand that ratings are king. Ratings are king, especially in the days of this type of TV that we watch, cable television, and things of that sort. Donald Trump understands that. Donald Trump understands that ratings generate the audience, and that's why he flip-flops on everything every day. Now, let me to the host. She mentioned about how this type of information and disinformation is being viewed and targeted towards people of color. I think that is something that we need to really pay attention to because, with the information that's coming down the pike now, how the Russians understand that. All right, the Russians understand how they can take gullible people, such as people like Donald Trump and anybody that's in it to make a dollar. They can use this information, and wherever you point this information to be targeted, it works. Now, people of color need to be more involved and more in tune about really what's going on because this is just only the beginning. You see, in the age of sensationalism sells, just like sex used to sell. But now sensationalism sells, and if it's not sensational, then they don't care to air it. That's why you have so much so-called false fake news and things of that sort because it's sensational. So people of color, we need to really kind of wake up and understand what's really going on. And quickly about the R. Kelly story, it has been pointed out that a lot of these young ladies that was loaned to R. Kelly, with the pretense of them being made famous somewhere down the line, and when their career tanked out, that's when the parents want to come back and say that he abused these young children at the time or these teenagers at the time. But these teenagers were loaned to him with the understanding that he could actually help them in their career going forward. But when they tanked out, then that's when they want to have a problem with it. Thank you, folks.
Yeah. Judge, and Ron, I'm fascinated. He says sex used to sell, like used to. It doesn't sell no more.
That's hashtag me too. That's that hashtag me too thing. Sex used to sell, but now they're trying to tamp down on sexuality.
You just grab them by it like the president? You just grab it?
Yeah, well, that if you listen to the men in the locker room, that's what most of them would say. Or at least if they didn't actually do it, they tried to. Most women will back that up. But in any event, there's another thing, too. It's not just what they're doing to us, and we need to be aware of that. It's what they're using us for. See, in other words, it's like a horror movie. Horror movies don't work if there's not something that's the subject of the movie that isn't horrifying or scary to the viewer. So they use us because we are scary to the audience they have in mind. In other words, the general white mainstream audience. And we become something to titillate them with, a horror story like the colored are getting ready to rise up on the plantations and slaughter folk. And you don't even own slaves, but you live nearby. You get all freaked out about that, and you want to go down and find the Nat Turner and the Denmark Vesey types and lynch them because it scares you. So we don't have too much direct lynching anymore, but we have a lot of what they call vicarious lynching. So we get that, and people get titillated. They stay tuned in, and they have another little secret something, a scorecard that they can say the colored, the black folk or the African Americans, this is what they're doing now. And by the way, you noticed during the Obama administration where the use of the term African American fell off and it's now gone back to black. I'm not so upset with that, but I'm just observing. We now use black. 5 years ago, it was African American everything.
So maybe they're making America great again. Judge Brown, you know that. We're not human. This is not our country. You know that. I don't know why you tripped it. But anyway, let me open up two more mics and then I'll let while you're answering that.
Well, here's another thing. Trump likes Black Nookie. His girlfriend for 2 years he took everywhere before the current wife was black. So and she is fine too, a model. All fine, yeah. Movie star quality, yeah. But see,
gotcha.
That is another thing too. You titillate them. They've got this secret fear, and ultimately, if you go to some place and you sit down at a bar where they nibble cheese and crackers and they drink wine, you know, red in hand and a glass of white on the table because they prefer the white, you hear them talking about the real problem is these atavistic black men who go around beating their women. Those are the ones that are inspiring our men to do bad things. Right? Yeah, okay. That's a little far-fetched, but they believe it. So I'll leave it at that for right now.
All right, I opened up, thank you, 229-733 for that comment. I opened up 904-520 and 818-613. Guys, welcome to the show. Please give us your name and your comment.
Hey, this is Fee. My bad. And what order you want us to go in? Because, you know, you just said 904 and 818. So what's up? Who you want to go first? And I don't want to step on 904's toes.
Go ahead.
All right.
So appreciate it, Mr. 904 over there. Look, this is Philo the Great calling out of Nashville, Tennessee. Look, I want to make a comment on this R. Kelly thing. I heard y'all talking about it. My comment is simple and plain. Anything left untreated only gets worse. R. Kelly, man, this wasn't nothing new. It all started with Aaliyah. She was a teenager. He got her pregnant. He even married her, snuck and married this little girl. And, you know, dude got really mental health issues and he's sick when it comes to sex and pedophilia and all that. He's really turned out by that. Now, I just want to say it shouldn't have nothing to do with dude music. That, like, the way they blackballing him, like, taking all his music down, it shouldn't have nothing to do with that. Yes, as a person, he's sick. As a person, he needs mental help. As a person, he needs to be checked in. As a person, he ain't shit, in my opinion. But as far as his music, his talent, that should not have anything to do with dude's personal issues. But dude is sick, man. This is something we all knew. Now that they bringing it out, yes, dude is broke. He illiterate, can't read, so to say. So all these things you learning about this dude who then wrote all these hit records, and right now don't have a pot to piss in and the one to throw it out. And you know, anything you do for so long, it'll come back against you, man. That's what karma is. And so R. Kelly just living out the karma that's set for him. So I don't feel bad for dude. Only thing I feel bad about is the music. That all that good music that dude made, you can't stream it, you can't go listen to it, because ain't nobody behind it no more. But other than that, man, shit, damn R. Kelly. That's Philo the Great.
Philip, I'd like to
Okay.
ask you a question real quick because something came out on social media based on what you just said. They were saying that Aaliyah's parents used her as bait because they knew he had a fetish and an attraction for young women, and because of that, after he married her, I guess they bartered. The negotiation was that, the end result was that they ended up with his publishing. And then it was like she was kind of passed around in the industry because she was still very young when she dated Jay-Z and possibly DMX and also Damon Dash. Right. So how do you feel about the fact that, they kind of took it, he wasn't alone, like they played him. Do you feel
Valerie,
less?
Let's keep it real.
Sorry.
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. When you of age and you a grown man of age, can't nobody swindle you to do nothing with a young girl underage unless you sick in your mind. So no matter what had happened, dude sick in his mind. Like if I'm a normal grown man, you know what I'm saying, over the age of 21, can't nobody on God's green earth bring somebody underage to me, present them to me, and say, have your way with this woman, or talk to this woman, or court this woman, this child, this little girl, whatever the case may be, because she underage, unless you sick in your mind. So if they set that man up, that says something about her parents. Like, for them to even put their baby out there like that, that's supposed to be your baby. So that says something about the parents, not this sick dude who you know sick anyway. So it really says something about her parents. And that may be why she's not here to this day. Because her parents.
And I agree with you, and I want to turn up the heat just a little bit more. Do we blame a lot of these parents? Because it seemed like a lot of these parents allowed their children to be in his presence knowing he had this sickness. And again, I feel like
yes, it is.
She was put in his presence, like walking an alcoholic into a bar. You know he's going to fall prey to this. But it was like they loaned their kids to this person because they wanted what he had or what what they could benefit from him. So we should be putting a lot, as it relates to the public and the public court. We should be like really investigating the families as well, because they put these young adults in his care. So what should we expect if you take the child to Freddy Krueger's house? You walked him over there. He like one more last point. What's her name? Kaya made a point. She said people always joke about her van. They said it looks like the ice cream truck, right? But he didn't go around in the ice cream truck driving around looking for little kids. They literally offered these little kids to him on a silver platter. So is he the only person we should blame?
Let me speak. I got to run off right quick. I got some clients, but I want to speak on this right quick. This is Nate Campbell from Jacksonville, Florida. I hope y'all can hear me clearly. But let's get
Nate, we can hear you.
I've been knowing about R. Kelly since I was in college. That was in the late 80s. My boys in Atlanta knew about it. My boys in Seattle knew about it. All the fighters used to swap stories about R. Kelly. As a matter of fact, I got one dude that told me the story I was getting ready to fight in Chicago. He said, Nate, they got this little get-together over at R. Kelly house, but I ain't going. I said, why? His exact words. Ain't going to be nothing but a whole bunch of young hoes over there. It's going to be like going to a daycare. Now, they knew about that then. If they knew about that then, they knew about it. They've been knew about it. So let's take it a little further. Jay-Z is guilty because he had sex with Aaliyah. He was having sex with Beyonce, but ain't nobody gonna say nothing about that because they love Beyonce. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about the fact that Jay-Z gave Foxy Brown a venereal disease at 15, 16 years old. Nobody talking about that. Everybody talking. Foxy Brown put it out there that Jay-Z and Jamie Foxx came in the room on her together. So nobody's talking about that. We have selective outrage. Whenever we get to saying some things about somebody, we don't stop to think that it's somebody else doing that same thing that you are playing their music right now. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you listen to the Ether album from Nas, he told you about Foxy Brown way back then. So let's talk. Let's really put it out there. The mamas and the daddies are the problem. Because if you telling me, you going to tell me out of your own mouth that my daughter is away with some grown man 2, 3, 4 in the morning and I don't know what's going on, you's a damn lie. I'm going to tell you right now, if I come to a house and my daughter's in that house and I got 3 of them, one of my daughters in that house and I can't get in there to see about my daughter, I'm going to tell one of my boys, now you go down there to that gas station we just passed and get me $2.75 worth of gas and bring me a book of matches. You understand me? Bring me a book of matches. You finna come out of here with my baby. You understand me? And then everybody in that house going to have to speak to me, and it's going to be ugly. If I'd have found out and saw a tape of R. Kelly having carnal sex with my little bitty 14, 15-year-old daughter, and he urinates on her, I would cut his head off and go downtown to the police department, sit, you know how you go into the police department and you walk up to the desk and say, "May I speak to Sergeant so-and-so?" I would go sit down there right across from the desk with his head on my lap, and I go to singing, "I don't see nothing wrong," right there that day. But see, the problem is you got a bunch of these old sissified-ass parents that let this man have their way with his daughter because they had a business plan. Because let me tell you something. Aaliyah mama and daddy still getting paid off of Aaliyah's music right now. And that money should have been R. Kelly's money, but because they knew he knew they had something on him, he was allowed to do what he did to her. But the law indemnifies them by saying we didn't know, but it puts him in the position of being a criminal. So listen, I'm not saying he don't deserve to go to jail because he do, but they should go to jail first because it was their job to protect their baby. That's their baby. His mama. Man. Let me tell y'all something. Ain't no way under the whole heaven that you can tell me that somebody did something to my 12-year-old granddaughter or my daughter when she was 14, and I don't kill everybody connected to him. I done went in that house and killed everybody with I done bit their jugular vein in half about my children. But the problem is you ain't got no real parents out here no more. These people thinking about what they can get. What's in this for me? So nobody want to tell the truth about this thing. I'm not saying R. Kelly ain't guilty, but what about the other people that are guilty? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I stood in front of Judge Joe Brown in court with him preside over the murder case, and he just said, why did you do it? I'd have said, look at that tape. Look at that tape, Yana. Look at that tape. What would you have done? I wouldn't even need a lawyer for this case. I said, look at this tape and tell me what would you have done. I was crazy. I was deranged. I lost my mind. Warm up. Both of them came
temporary insanity. Temporary insanity.
But if
you know
the parents
wait a minute. You know something? You know something that gets me about this whole thing they're doing with R. Kelly? I don't really know what her name was, but the woman that said she also had sex with that girl.
There you go. That's against the law.
They haven't done anything to her. It's a felony. I don't know what the Illinois statute of limitations is, but there you go. That's probable cause to prosecute somebody.
But everybody's mad at R. Kelly.
Yeah. See, the other thing is about the mamas. That's how that Michael Jackson worked, was the mothers brought these kids to them. And you go and see when they occasionally get a 18 cinema with 18 screens, and you've got 7 of them on a redo on that last Michael Jackson tour, and all these fat women walk in there with their sons with white socks on and one glove on. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You would like to have your boy turned over to this dead pervert? And they just love it. And nothing's done to them. I think that's at least contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I mean, an accessory to, actually it's pandering, procuring for purposes of prostitution.
Well, Judge, with the Michael Jackson thing, this is my issue with that. I'm just going to be a man of reason on that. He did settle out of court the first time around. When he took it to court, he beat it back in 2005. The DA tore up Neverland Ranch looking for evidence that he did anything to anybody, and they couldn't find it. They tore up Neverland Ranch. He couldn't live there no more. He was just so traumatized by the whole thing, according to him. And also I remember when Jermaine Jackson was on Larry King post-trial, he told Larry King that Michael Jackson's master bedroom was 5,000 square feet. And I think a person would think if his master bedroom was 5,000 square feet, how big was the bed he was sharing? And also what troubled me after the first time he was accused of being a pedophile, you had not just parents, but organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation kept on bringing him kids to his Neverland Ranch to participate in his amusement park and petting zoo, whatever you want to call it. But I'm saying, why are these people enabling these people if they are predators, as they say? How come they can't prove it in the court of law? How come they keep on enabling these people by having kids around? It's like you look at Penn State. You look at a lot of things. But why is it that, Michael Jackson, like Al Capone, people say he killed a lot of people, but they could never prove it in the court of law that Al Capone killed anybody. So by legal definition, he's not a murderer.
They couldn't get
So R. Kelly or Michael Jackson are not pedophiles.
Well, by
legal definition.
See, the case on Jackson depended on witnesses, and they couldn't get anybody that was going to really get in there and drop the bombshells on the testimony. But what gets me to prove the case that he really was, but, they couldn't get a criminal conviction, is when that fool was out there in the rain under that black umbrella talking about there was nothing wrong with a grown man showing love to a child who is not a relative under 10 by being naked in the bed with him. And he said that out of his own mouth, and I've heard that recording several times, so unless they doctored it, he's admitted to being a pedophile. But they couldn't prove it in court. Everybody knows who did it, but you can't prove it using legal methodology.
But he got John Gotti in jail, right, for wiretaps, right? He was incriminating himself, right?
He's incriminating
the bull,
himself.
But they got him in jail for that.
Yeah, but see, they got the bull testifying against him.
And how can you trust a snitch or a mobster?
Oh, hell no.
But even with Aaliyah, I'm gonna tell y'all something. People, we gotta do our research. I have a relative right now. He was 28 when he married his wife. When she was 14, right? They've been married for 64 years. It's like Elvis Presley met Priscilla Presley when she was a teenager. The parents were okay with that. Jerry Lee Lewis, another musician, married his 13-year-old cousin when he was a grown man. I remember when I was in junior high school, I knew 14-year-old girls that were dating 30-year-old men. In junior high, this was 20-something years ago. So we act like this stuff just happened, and he didn't go to no daycare. He went to high school parking lots. I mean, when I was in high school, you had older guys with their fast cars hanging out in the parking lot, taking the girls to the Mall of Memphis to buy some Jordans or get some McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be honest about this. The culture that we're living in. Black bodies have not been owned by black people, at least since 1619. We have not held control over our bodies in this system. Think about what I'm saying, whether it be entertainment, whether it be so-called chattel slavery. Think about the father of gynecology, so-called J. Marion Sims from South Carolina. He used to mutilate the vaginas and wombs of black women, and they called it medical breakthroughs. They had a statue of J. Marion Sims up in Central Park recently for years to honor this guy as the father of gynecology. Look what they did to Henrietta Lacks at Johns Hopkins University. They violated her body without her consent and made billions and billions and billions of dollars off of it. And her family living in Baltimore with no health insurance to this day.
Well,
we got to think about what's going on.
It's wrong, and you like when I was sitting on the criminal bench in Memphis, I'd get all of these girls in there that had children starting at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and got 5 and 6 of them before they hit 18, or 3 or 4, and they put the fathers down, and nobody's prosecuting the fathers for especially aggravated rape. See, I mean, it's like, I remember this woman on the stand. I said, did you know that this 27-year-old man was sleeping with your 13-year-old daughter? She said, yeah, I put him up to it. I told him he was staying at my house. He was staying at your house? Yeah. I said, well, please explain to the court why that was the case. So, well, all my friend girls are saying, you got a grown woman at your house. She 12, 13 years old, and she ain't getting no check. And I said, you going to help out. I wanted her to get herself knocked up. I said, you knew about it. I said, put $100,000 bond on this woman and have her arrested as an accessory to this offense of especially aggravated rape. And I had her locked up right there. What about my babies? I said, you don't need to be around any of them. And see, I didn't give that guy any mercy, but he's sitting there crying, snot running down his nose. Judge, what are you doing this to me? I don't understand. My brother was born when my mama was 12. What's wrong with it? So it's a culture thing, too. But, you know, white folk do it, too. Jerry Lee Lewis, a prime example. They had a kickback to it, but, you know, some states still to this day, a woman can be married at 14, which I think is ridiculous. But
Alabama like that. Alabama's like that.
And also, I want to say Marvin Gaye, his last wife, he was messing around with her when she was in high school. Her parents knew about it. They was okay with it. That was Marvin Gaye's last wife. His first wife was older than him.
He was so blown off that coke, I don't know if he knew what the hell he was doing.
But the parents was okay with it. I want to say they allowed him to mess around, this grown man, mess around with their daughter in high school. That was his last wife he had, his third wife, I believe.
Yeah, they needed to be whipped.
But Leah ain't no, that's an arranged marriage. That's like some cultural stuff. Like you look at India with arranged marriages. I mean, basically what y'all saying is Aaliyah had an arranged marriage with R. Kelly, but R. Kelly has been for the most of his life a functional illiterate. So he sold away all his publishing, and once he died, they're gonna put all his music back out there so they can exploit. Just like with Michael Jackson, as soon as he died, they got hold of that Sony catalog. He was able to have the Beatles and all that stuff because he owned the rights to the Beatles music. And if people don't understand this, it's warfare with these people. Everything in human activity is warfare. If you look at the bedroom politics of anybody, you take any of our bedroom politics, people will not probably respect us afterwards. You know, if you listen to anybody's music, you can't listen to gospel music. Look at the Reverend James Cleveland. You know, he died from AIDS. How he get the AIDS? This is like the king of gospel music, Reverend James Cleveland. You look at Bobby Womack. Bobby Womack, not only did he marry Sam Cooke's widow, he slept with Sam Cooke's daughter while he was married to Sam Cooke's widow. He had an affair with Linda Cook when she was about 17 or 18 years old while he was married to Sam Cooke's wife. So I'm going to stop listening to Bobby Womack because of his personal shortcomings? I mean, if you start doing this, it's a witch hunt. You can't listen to nobody. You start looking at people's personal history and their sex lives.
Well, I won't listen to Jackson music just off of GPs. I never did like them anyway. When they were kids, they sounded like a bunch of rats in a bag getting ready to be drowned. But there's no accounting for taste.